A dynamic duo back at it this week. You got Stevie P, got myself. What are we going to be talking about? I don't know. We're going to be talking about this Milan 2-1 win, the controversial penalty, Steve. Everybody's out going crazy about this. We're going to be talking about what went on in New York, new Patreon members, Fubo segment. It's week 7, Steve. Let's be joyous for this moment. We're going to talk about the game, international break, what went on. And I know you have a lot of things to talk about. Are you ready, my friend?
Let's go!
All right, guys, let's get the show on the road. Cari amici sportivi, welcome you to another edition of the Milan Weekly Podcast. Here we talk everything Milan, top of the table. Salutate, Steve, even though you wrote La Capolista, hey, guys, we'll take it. Stevie P, Vinny T, Fatefield. Steve, how do you walk in to the StreamYard? Nick, already from Boston, donated $5, and he did you see what he wrote, Steve? He wants us to dress up as Bruins players for a Halloween show. Then, Mark has to one-up him. He just wants to give $5. He just wants to give $5 American. This is at least $22 Canadian. But, Steve, the news is that about 3 weeks ago, we gave 2 objectives. $250 in Super Chats to dress up for Halloween. I haven't dressed up since 2004. We have reached that goal because of that damn American dollar, because a lot of money. And we had said 500 as a super goal, and we're going to give out some vintage pitch t-shirts. We do have another week, but guys like Frank GPT or even Davey from Patreon, he was there at the game yesterday with his big $70 donation. Steve, we're going to be dressing up for Halloween, are we not?
We are going to be dressing up, guys. Super Chats are open. And how, Vinny, do these guys know that the Super Chats are open and how our videos come to play? What do they got to do, Vinny?
Steve, they got to hit the subscribe. They got to hit the notification bell. But, Steve, now TikTok machine, Instagram machine, you guys are going live. We're trying to give you more content, but primarily here on the YouTube channel. Guys, it's thank you so very much for all of the support. And speaking of support, look at Frank, $7 super chat, Gio Allegri and Fabus Barbara Berlusconi. I think we could do it. Oscar's asking wrestling questions. Oscar, you're my guy there. But guys, thank you so very much for the support. And speaking of support, right? We're gonna give him a shout out, but to Ian, to Watson, brand new Patreon members, thank you so very much. And I guess we're just gonna have to update this video, Stevie P. Thank you so very much to newest members, guys. We really appreciate it. Frank, thank you. He just wants us to get dressed up on Halloween, but we cannot thank you enough for all your support, guys. Thank you so very much for that. And Steve, we had a hectic weekend. We came into this week, especially after the international break, I guess, if you haven't seen Stevie P with his input on TikTok. Steve, thank you for singing Celine Dion, even though I'm not a big Celine fan, but you were very It's that singing voice. That singing voice
The
in yours.
singing voice is coming out, guys. The international break almost made me cry. Guys, you saw the injuries. We're gonna get straight into the game, Vinny, but the injuries did tell the story of what we were heading into this game.
Should we do the announcement before we get into the game? I know Presidente gave us some tasks here. So Milan Club Montreal, right? We're getting all those members in. The memberships coming in, and Presidente decided that he was going to give away 2 kits of their choices at Evangelista Sports here, and a vintage pitch, a T-shirt. And we would like to announce right now. Steve, you used a randomizer, or did he just put like pieces of paper in a toque? Maybe because it's getting. It was warm today, but it's getting
tombola style. Pieces of paper in the toque and pick them out.
Guys, I'm very happy to see that Steve La Barbera that comes very often to Chicharro. Steve, you have won a kit of your choice at Evangelista Sports. And my cousin Johnny winning on the other one. He said he was going to send a booster to Presidente. I don't want to start spreading rumors. So congratulations to Steve and Giovanni Arcadi. And to the Vintage Pitch T-shirt, Basil Rashid. Congratulations. I hope you get the Rossoneri one because it's fantastic. So, guys, congratulations to the winners. Steve, another thing happening across, clubs around the world. Steve, take me through what went on Sunday morning. Compare Franco in New York, right? He gets up in the morning, he makes a bello cafe or espresso, and he went to his bat phone. He's got a bat phone over there, directly lined to. Can you tell us how maybe this conversation or how it went on? Steve, who's there next to Compare Cic? Is that Giorgio Furlani? And Giorgio wearing a T-shirt Furlani and jeans. Look at him.
Very rare to see Giorgio Fulani in a T-shirt and jeans, but great job by Milan Club, New York City. Guys, it's the Mecca. Everybody's going to gravitate to there. Very easy for everybody to make their way to New York and get, distracted by the sights and sound of the concrete jungle. But guys, if he has to figure out a place to go watch, he's going and watch it with AC Milan Club, New York City, because that's the place to do it. It's a fantastic place, guys. Great on them. Amazing. I would have loved to be a fly on the wall in those conversations. Even on top, just to the right of Compare Frank, we see Il Grande Fabio.
And Fabio, with our newest Patreon member, Watson, thank you again for the support. But great seeing this kind of stuff happening in Milan clubs around the world. So, Compare Ciccio, I'm sure you asked him about Pendelisce and Penne Rigate. And to Philly president Steve, buying $11 Pendelisce pasta. That's a story for him. You're very disappointed, but we'll talk about that another time. What we're here to talk about is Milan. Steve, let me ask you, because at the beginning of this weekend, and we spoke about it even in the pregame therapy. A lot of us were worried about the injuries, these stupid internationals, especially as you and Fabio put out in your videos. We're not talking about qualifying World Cups. We're talking about like these friendlies, the way Pulisic, got hurt. And I remember writing in the Milan Club chat, the Montreal ones, like, in Allegri I trust, right? And seeing, a couple of hours before the game, Atekame, Bartesaghi a bit more comfortable because he's been doing pretty good for a 21-year-old kid. But how are you feeling? And even Steve, the way the soccer gods work, Fiorentina hasn't had 3 points so far. Milan of old, exactly what was going to happen on this game here. But take me through your thoughts before this match started.
Yeah, so a lot of the injuries didn't really help, that's for sure. Ruben Loftus-Cheek coming out of the game even before it even started, so added to the injury list even without touching the pitch. look, Vinny, we had to Frankenstein this Milan, and I think Allegri did what he had to do with the squad. And I'm not talking in terms of like, okay, we're facing Fiorentina at home. It's after a long break. I wasn't really happy about seeing Salchicha maker, salad maker, behind Leão as the lone striker. And again, it came to fruition because the first half was horrendous. It was a terrible game to watch. Throughout Serie A this weekend, where all the games were really tough to watch.
Holy shit.
But it didn't help. And I think, for me, we're going to get to it after, but if I'd have to pick, a first half flop of the match, it was going to be Salamaker's, just because, unfortunately, he had to step in and had to play this position that he's not used to playing. And this made his game more complicated than it was supposed to be. And when Salamaker's game becomes more complicated than it's supposed to be, we start seeing the flicks. We start seeing him on the floor, having a tantrum. This is not the Salamaker that we need.
Steve, so let me ask you the reverse on that question. Where would you have put him? Would you have went with the starting lineup? And like, I'm trying to think, even if you were trying to put him on the right-hand side, who would you put on the left? And Nkunku, which now would have been his position, but do you have any ideas of what you would have done?
Broken toe, not broken toe. We're not seeing Nkunku as well. Another one added to the injury list. I think what Allegri did in the second half by flipping the script and, introducing Jimenez and putting Salamaker back to where he belongs, was the tail of the tape on this game. We don't give him enough credit. And again, I watched tons of videos throughout the day yesterday, throughout the night yesterday and today. And I have to say the same thing as all the ones that I watch. Chiedete scuse a Max Allegri. Chiedete scusa. Because this is when the manager, identifies that there's something going on in his team which is not working, even after conceding that goal to Fiorentina, which was a terrible papera from Mike Magnan.
Yeah.
He was able to...
I don't want to blame Mike on that one, though. Like more of a defensive blunder, just a miscommunication. You blame Mike on that one?
He's got to catch that ball. He's got to catch that ball. He's got to come out and punch or catch that ball. He's got to help his defenders out. For me, it's a papera. Papera is a papera. I love Mike, and it's a papera. But
okay,
long story short, Max Allegri turned this game by putting Salamakers back to where he belongs, introducing Jimenez, who works his ass off, even though he doesn't score.
He does.
He plays an important part in this telenovela.
Adrian, I think, wrote the Tales of Two Halves, Steve. First half was not good. First half was... And I found myself going back to the Milanistas that we were last year. It's like, is this... because, Steve, let's be honest. In weeks the way this weekend happened, in the past, where everybody lost points or in position that kind of help us. And guys, I know it's week 7. I'm not going to change my mood, let's go after 10 games. But how did you feel at halftime?
At halftime, I wanted to see some changes. We needed to introduce someone into this game who can help Leão drift off to that left-hand side where he belongs. He is not a true striker. He's not a pure striker. And playing him up there, I found that he was a little bit lost in the first half. Again, we can say fitness as well. I still believe that that's a problem. But you see that once he gets to a very comfortable spot in his game, which is out left, and he's able to do certain things, with his speed. He did have, again, unfortunately, some of those, calcio moments where we question his IQ. But then he ties up the game with an individual effort that, we need to see more of, right? And this is the tail of the tape for Milan moving forward after match day 7 is, can Leão keep this form consistently? This is what we need. And I have a feeling that Max, seeing this, this partnership kind of starting to become a little bit more fruitful, where introducing Jimenez, who does do all the work on the pressing side, and
Yes, he does.
Leão can concentrate on working on the offensive side, I think will be beneficial for both those players. But Jimenez has to start scoring goals.
So he scores, Leão scores from what, 25 feet away, equalize in the 63rd minute. And okay, we got a game on our hands. Let's talk about it, Steve. Let's talk about it. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I said at the bar this morning, because everybody was like, oh, okay, rigore. You know what I said, Steve? Do I make the rules? I don't make the rules. And I just saw a clip from Jacopone from the Fiorentina channel. And the commentator for Fiorentina was just saying, you can't have your hands like that up there. And he wasn't even mad at the penalty. I think the problem is where the guys on Domenica Sportiva, Sports Media Set, were saying that the referee was in a position and didn't call anything. Then again, VAR told him to no, I think you should go check. Now, did he exaggerate? 100%. Do I feel it's a penalty? The more I looked at it, Steve, you know what? I looked at it back today in the extended highlights because I wanted to get some more notes, and yeah, it's a penalty because we've seen that be given. And I think it's more the hand holding back. Again, I don't condone the exaggeration of the thing. And I remember at the end of the game, you saw that it was a bit more red in the face, but your take on this penalty. And you know what? I'll take it, because nobody's going to be talking about, well, then that was a dubious penalty 6 months ago again, because we've had calls against us. Did we complained, but Steve, we never blamed the referee decisions for our losses, right? We called it as it is, and that's been us in the past. But your thoughts about this penalty?
That's not a penalty.
I agree with you.
That's not a penalty, and it's
we'll
again the same conversation we keep on having, and Serie A will continue having if they don't iron up their process with VAR. It's just something that just takes too long. The ref needs to be able to ref and manage the game. I will take it. I will gladly take it and never be embarrassed to take it. But if we go in the purest of soccer that I am, unfortunately, guys, this is stuff that the old guard is looking at and laughing at, because this has become almost like a who is the best actor in a supporting role kind of.
Do you have I'm gonna ask you. You just said that Jimenez fights, right? Do you have a problem with him? It seems it's a recurring thing, that the play acting.
Look, it's getting a bit exaggerated, and at a certain point, he will not get the calls that he's supposed to get. I'd rather see him work. I'd rather see him work on, being that build-up striker that we can use as a target man, a la Giroud, who can hold up play and have his midfielders advance and have his midfielders play off him and get into dangerous spots, than him play acting there. But at the end of the line, guys, there's another very important aspect of this that's not being talked about anywhere. Is that what the hell is the Fiorentina defender doing even touching him? He's no way in hell Jimenez is going to get on that ball. And if we go with the Pavlovic and the Tamori chances that we missed, he was going to probably hit someone in Curva Sud and knock his teeth out.
Now, hold on. To be fair, Jimenez maybe 5-10 minutes before, great save by De Gea, and he on that side there. But I don't think I'm agreeing with you that on that play he was far. And again, what is he doing with his hands up like that? And this is even coming from the Fiorentina home commentators, right? But the whole play acting, it is what it is. But like we've said in the past, Steve, in 6 months from now, a month from, nobody's going to be talking about, well, this call was dubious and it should have been a 1-1 draw. I feel bad for Padre Pioli, but in the end, Padre Pioli was our coach. He's not our coach anymore. It's fine to feel bad for a guy, but in the end, Fiorentina has no business having no wins so far, Steve. On paper, they should. No?
Who feels bad for Padre Pioli?
Some people on the internet.
There's no. What's done is done, guys. It's you move on. You change the color of the shirt. There's no emotion left in me personally. Again, is it someone who brought us some success in a year that won us a Scudetto? Absolutely, but he's a victim of his own coaching methods, right? The Fiorentina just doesn't look good. Your top striker, yes, got injured on international duty and comes back and he's not 100% fit. You need to find the solution as Padre Pioli to do what you need to do to get results for Fiorentina. You cannot have zeros on the board in the 3-point column if you want to be successful here.
Milan only giving up 4 goals so far this season, a great record. I know this was not there's going to be a trumpet, Steve, after, but not the best of weeks for Serie A on that one. But Leão, I'm going to take back your words. You talked about consistency. It's fine to be happy for Leão. And if he was listening right now, I'm like, the way we try to criticize you, and we criticize you as fans, because we love you and we believe in you, right? But it can't just be this one time, Steve, because right now, with the injuries that we have to go for this next month, we need to see consistency, right?
Consistency is going to be key, especially this Friday trap game against Pisa. Love the schedule maker of Serie A. Play us at 2:45 last game of the week, except for the Udine Cremonese snooze fest from today. And let's play again on Friday because that's just what the schedule maker does. But long story short, 100% agree with you. With that, we need consistency from this lineup. I'm hoping, Ngoku seems like he's coming back. We'll have some other options. But for me, this same starting lineup starts against Pisa on Friday. And it's 3 points, guys. We put our head down as Capolista. And it's 3 points. And I don't care how I get them. Stupid penalties, own goals. I will take, again, like I said, from here on out, 37 own goals and 1-0 wins. I want the second star on my chest of the next jersey that I buy. Absolutely 100% next year. I do not want to lose a Scudetto to one of these teams because this year we're seeing cracks in a lot of these teams that are so, amazing. Like, the Napoli, the Napolitan, they thought that they invented a new margarita pizza and Napoli was what this was. And you lose against Torino. And it was a fantastic video seeing the Napolitans celebrating for the tying goal. And in the end, Napoli.
Steve, top and give me a flop of this match, Steve, for you.
For me, guys, I have to continue on the salchicha maker train. Unfortunately, I've been someone who praised them quite a lot this year. I saw a lot of guys say, he had a good game. But again, sometimes the score kind of like smoke screens the performance. And for me, salchicha maker, I think he just didn't understand what an important role he was playing in this formation behind Leão. And I think he needed to be more of that, who's my supporting actor in the show. And Leão is the lead actor. He wanted to be the lead actor in this match, Salamaker. And unfortunately, when he makes his game very complicated, we don't get the best player that we've seen for the first 6 match days.
Can I go outside the box here, Steve? And you know who my player of the match is? Gabbia. Because Gabbia, when Signor Leão, you always said, like soccer mind, trying to take off his shirt. What did Gabbia do? What are you doing? And he just pulled it down because this is the last moment that we want him on a yellow. God forbid he would get another yellow. So Gabbia, Thank you very much for putting down Leão's shirt. I don't know if you took a grasp of that one, because Leão is a very easy man of the match, Steve. But thank you, Gabia, because with our luck, Steve, a stupid yellow card like that, which was deserved because you know exactly what you're doing, but there's the maturity, and I'm sure Modric would have done the exact same thing in that situation. But other than Leão being your man of the match, any dark horse for you looking back?
There's no dark horse, guys. There is only one, and it's Luka Modric. He was fantastic, guys. He's 40 years old. He's playing with as much, or if not more, passion that I've seen in him for the longest time. Even emotion. You know, we saw the great shot of him after a Napoli game being like,
he was like a little kid.
What is it, like a 14-time Champions League winner? You know, like,
yeah.
This Napoli game with the Milan is giving him joy again. And you see there's the shot when Leao's getting ready to take the PK.
And he's
of
looking
him in the back.
That,
he's razor focused. And then everything that he does on the field, guys, is for a purpose. Every touch, every pass. When he comes back down into the build-up in our zone, it's amazing to watch. It's so lucky, and again, I cannot stress the fact enough. People shit on Serie A because we say we bring in the dinosaurs. Well, you know what? If all the dinosaurs are like Luka Modric, guys, bring them all. Bring them all, because it's fantastic to watch. Better than your stupid EPL, ping pong, bullshit soccer that you guys play. And just because you paint your grass doesn't mean that you play better football.
Ramiz, thank you so very much for the super chat. Winning ugly is still a win. It keeps the momentum going. Stupid penalties were given against us before. Let's take what we can get. Let's go. I guess some people want some vintage pitch t-shirts because they've heard of the beautiful quality t-shirts that you guys are making over there. And can't wait to get down to Boston. I will be bringing the goodies. November 8th, Milan Club Boston. We will be bringing the microphone. We're going to be doing some interviews. I hope, Steve, I don't get caught at the borders and paying tariffs. The government doesn't watch this podcast, do they? No, it doesn't watch this podcast. Stevie P, are you ready? Let's go take a look at. We're gonna give him his trumpet, Liban Youssef, because he likes it. But there was not many trumpets to talk about this week, so let's go have a look what else happened in week 7 of Serie A this week. This segment is brought to you by Fubo.tv, your home for all things Serie A and EPL here in Canada, e se anche può ascoltare in italiano. Steve, I think this broke a record. Presentia told us, I think it's been at least maybe season 2003, 2004, that last time that there was this many goals. I think it was 13 goals scored in the whole weekend. This has now been 11 goals with today's Cremonese and Udinese result, but not the best of solution. But let's just give it to him. Let's just. Steve, Lecce Sassuolo 0-0, Pisa Verona 0-0, and then, Steve, I want to discuss this with you. Do you still believe in this? I'm sorry I scored against you. Simeone, you've moved teams like 4 times in 4 years. You won a game for your team. What are you apologizing for, Steve? And Torino, and yes, I love seeing that video of the Napoli fans where it's like they thought they were going to tie it up, but it's still game 7. I'm not going to trash on Napoli, guys. It's a long season, but your takes on this game, because again, not a very exciting game, but I don't think Napoli did anything to merit to win this game. What were your takes on this one?
No, I agree. I don't think Napoli did much to get in it, but if we could talk, globally this week, you see the lack of quality just because there's just a lack of fitness. These guys, after 7 match days, some are playing international duty, some are not, with their respective countries coming back and just not having it in them to have another 95 minutes in their legs. We see a lot of turnover. Good for Torino. They're not the most exciting team to watch, but a 1-0 win at home against Naples, I'm pretty sure they're going to take it. And for Napoli, it's a reality check, right? You were looking past Torino. You were looking to Champions League ball this week, if I'm not mistaken, Wednesday or Tuesday. I don't remember when they're playing. You can't. When you're playing 3 times a week, Vinny, this is how tough it is. This is why Milan is how they, has the reputation that they have in Europe, because of how we did playing 3 times a week with the squads that we built. And again, you need to build squads that can play 3 times a week just because of this. You cannot drop points against a very flat Torino at match day 7. You need to accumulate these points to when things get really tough near the holidays or maybe back after the last international break. Napoli wasn't good, and the week in itself in Serie A was
Torino wasn't good either. They just capitalized on their chances, right? But just more drama for Serie A, and in week 7 having all these teams very close in points. Steve, Inter took 6 minutes to score 1 goal, and I'm not going to say they just sat back. I watched this. It's like, I don't know, Roma. I think they're the best team after Milan for conceded goals. I think only have 3 compared to 4 for Milan. And again, I know I like repeating myself about this. Like, let's get into 10 games. But if you were a Roma fan, would you be worried?
Look, I'm not worried about this result just because Inter is a good team. What I'm worried about is the missed chances. I think Roma missed some chances that they could have tied this game up. And, playing at home is where you need to collect your points against the Inters, the Milans, the Juves, because once you start going on the road, the game kind of changes, and there's a bit of gamesmanship that's played when you're playing away. But again, I'm not worried if I'm a Roma fan just because I did manufacture some chances. I'm a little bit pissed that I didn't get a point out of this game, because after Inter scores, don't really generate much.
Definitely. Como Juventus. Steve, how is it that I didn't feel this was a big surprise this week? I felt that, again, it's only 1 game, but the people talking about Juve, about how they're a Scudetto contenders, I'm not saying they're not, but you can't lose in this fashion against Como, Steve. I'm
Juventus
sorry.
is not a Scudetto contender. They are absolutely out of their wits, lost with what they're doing with this team. Tudor has lost the plot. It was a sexy signing for their, to come in, swoop in, and take over after Motta. But I don't think Tudor is the man for the job. I just think that he's still trying to piece together after match day 7 what his starting lineup is. Big injury on the backside for Juventus, losing Bremer. But if I'm Consensao and Yildiz, like we were speaking today at the park at Sunday morning soccer here in RDP, if I'm Yildiz and Consensao, I'm really pissed off, because I'm saying I'm working my ass off and no one's putting the ball in the net. Whether we put the Canadian or whether we put the Serbian, no one's finding the back of the net if it's not for us.
I would put the Serbian before the Canadian, because the Canadian wanted to come out and say he's going to score, what did he say, 30 goals in all competitions. And in the end, it's like, I'm sorry, John, yes, you're a fellow Canadian, but don't talk like that, because if the great Ronaldo was not able to score 22 goals in his first season in Serie A, keep your mouth shut, because right now, every single time that Susan came on, right, he produced. I'm not saying in this game, but it would be in the Champions League, whatever. But anyways, do you think Juventus is, and that's gonna be my parting shot to you, but nothing to write home about here. Como Nico Paz is just
fantastic.
And they're gonna lose him, Steve. They're gonna lose him, right?
They are gonna lose him, but he's just a fantastic player. Amazing
Fantastic
to watch.
player.
And I think Como has a nice product. Just for them, it's consistency, right?
Definitely. Bologna taking home the 3 points, even them back in the top of the table, 2-0 away at Cagliari. Genoa Parma 0-0. This one was a surprising one, Steve. Atalanta Lazio 0-0. This one was a surprising result.
Boringest game in the. I can almost say it's going to be the boringest game of the year. It was terrible to watch. Lazio just sat back, was just waiting for something to happen on the counter, which they were too slow to counter. And Atalanta is going to bite their knuckles because they had chances and it just didn't fall for them.
And did you see Sarri's like, if it was any other team, I would have left a long time ago. But didn't you want to leave before the season started? Good old Lazio. Strasbourg, Steve, we feel for you, buddy. And today, Cremonese Udinese, because Steve, that's the big match of Serie A on Monday. Cremonese Udinese 1-1. But Steve, after 7 weeks, looking at this one, okay. So I always loved asking you this in the past. After 7 weeks, what is your biggest disappointed surprise?
The disappointment, I have to say, again, very easy to pick Juve, but I think Lazio sitting at 12th needs to ship up.
That's exactly
to shape up, and again, very easy to pick on Fiorentina at 3 points at number 18. Those two, with Juve at 7, is very strange to see after match day 7 because usually Fiorentina and Lazio are fast starters in the season and then end bad, and now they're starting very slow. And will they be able to end on a positive note? Who knows?
Would you say your pleasant surprise mine would be Roma, Steve, because I did not think Roma would be fourth after 7 weeks and cheat to cheat, not saying anything, nobody's talking about them. Only, again, 3 goals allowed. Would you say that you're pleasantly surprised in their position?
Yeah, being on that side of the table, no, but fourth, yes. Como's an easy answer, but I'm very surprised that Sassuolo's sitting at 9th with 10 points, coming up from Serie B. It's usually a bit harder for those teams that flip flop up and down. But Sassuolo hasn't been down for the longest time and came straight back up. So I'm happy to see them at the 10 and see what that project has in store.
Guys, we have the starting lineups. We had the Week 7 recap, and let's take it over to our next segment. And that was brought to you by Fubo.tv, your home for all things Serie A here in Canada. Stevie P, I wanted to get you the Patreon questions before we wrap this up. Timmy from Toronto, do you think it's fair for Leão to face the current level of criticisms as Milan's number 10 and highest paid player, someone who's worn the captain's armband, won a league MVP, and been regarded among the world's best wingers? Isn't it reasonable for fans to demand great consistency from him? Great consistency. I think I'm gonna go yes. Because I think it was Modric when he was talking about Leão. You're not a kid anymore, right? You're not 20 years old anymore. And the consistency. And I think we're going to talk about that episode with the shirt, Steve. I think that's a perfect example how, dude, I know you're happy, but a person with level head and a bit more maturity would not try to take off his shirt, especially and I'm thinking back of Allegri. Remember that video, Steve? No me incazzar, Rafa, no me incazzar. But what do you say to Timmy's question here?
Absolutely deserves all the criticism. We need consistency. It's been too much of a up and down with Leão, and we need to see more ups than downs. I know Timmy is not a big Leão fan, so this is a very professionally worded question that he sent over here. And baiting us, but absolutely the criticism is warranted. We need this guy as Milan, like he says in his question, highest paid player, league MVP in the past. We needed for him to build on that, not to regress. We needed him to build. Now, you said he's not a kid anymore. Well, he has a kid, so now he needs to start showing.
Twins.
Yeah, he needs to start showing that he's a man, right? And the shirt incident, everybody is claiming it to be a very happy moment, right? Because Gabia showed his brains when Leão did not, and how the game would have changed, and how it would have pretty much squashed his whole performance if he takes off his shirt, gets a second yellow card, which is absolutely a stupid rule, and takes a red after he just gave us the lead, and we have to defend for X number of minutes against a Fiorentina that's looking for points. So again, merited. The criticism is merited, and he gets it from Cassano, he gets it from a whole bunch of people. At a certain point, you need to start proving the critics wrong.
Vinny is more of giving us more of a talking point. He's in the comments tonight, but a Patreon member for several reasons. I'm more of a talking point. It may not be a big deal to many, but why do we continue to use our alternative third kits for home matches? Kind of upset that Fiorentina got to wear their home colors in our house while we stuck wearing a Brazilian shirt. Sure, we are winning in it, but I expect the Rossoneri colors to be worn at home. Just expect the white to be worn in our next Champions League final, whenever that will be. Thanks, gentlemen. Yeah, Steve, it's like, why? Why the third jersey?
Look, I know it's...
That's why I use this background, yeah.
It's absolutely 100% monetary, that it has to probably appear X number of times. And because we play once a week, we need to show off for revenue purposes this third kit. But, Vinny Mancini, I in the past... because we're so used to playing, three times a week, I really it didn't bother me that much. And the third kit was usually an all black or something like that. I didn't have
it is the Australian shirt.
Yeah, I didn't have a big problem with that. But to be very honest, Joe, guys, it's starting to piss me off. It's starting to piss me off, and I have to agree with Vinny Mancini, because the red and black at San Siro needs to be worn at San Siro. No one's gonna let us into their home wearing the red and black. So stop with the yellow, stop with the pink at home. Wear it whenever the hell you want, but at home you wear the red and black. It has to change. And Davey is just him. He
wants a t-shirt.
He wants a t-shirt. Yeah.
You know what, Davey? Thank you so very much, dude. I didn't know. I just bought you an aranciata yesterday. You bought a sandwich. I bought you an aranciata. Thank you so very much, Davey. And you know what? They are very comfortable. We're gonna get you a t-shirt. He wants the Halloween and the t-shirt. Thank you again so very much. Truly appreciate it. You're the best, Steve. My closing comments for you. And this was not going to be a question after this weekend, after what we've read. Chi se lo non se lo mangio panettone? Pioli or Tudor?
Guys, honestly, after seeing Pioli lose this week, I can tell you that lui non si mangia il panettone.
And by the way, sorry, for our English speaking, when we talk about mangiare il panettone, meaning at Christmas time, it's an Italian tradition. We eat the panettone. And by us saying he's not going to eat the panettone, he's not going to make it through the Christmas break. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify everything. So for you, Pioli, non si mangia il panettone, but is Tudor accompanying him there?
Tudor non si mangia il panettone. Unless things drastically change for Juve, I don't think he will be eating il panettone as well. It's that bad.
But who's out there, Steve?
Palladino. They're gonna have to find someone. They are going to have to find someone.
I don't know, but Juventus is. They're gonna have to work out something. We'll see. We got big games coming up this week, Steve. I think it's Inter Napoli this week. We shall see what goes on from over there. But let's give me, going from the feelings of week 1 to week 7, right? And I remember, I think it was you or Jan saying, if you had the chance to guarantee top 4 and a Coppa Italia win or fight for the Scudetto. And I said, no, fight for the Scudetto, because there's no reasons why we shouldn't go get that second star this year. What I worry about is that this injury crisis that we've had this week is that if we were playing 3 games a week, Steve, and I like to say, and Allegri I trust, but going on with Bartesaghi and Atekame against a Real Madrid, a Bayern Munich, but I'm feeling good, Steve. I'm feeling good. And so far, I know it's only week 7. I know it's a long-ass season, but tell me about what you're feeling 7 weeks in.
I'm very impressed by the organization of Max Allegri and the squad. Not, again, through past episodes, not 100% fan of, of the Ruben Loftus-Cheeks, the salchicha maker behind the striker, doing these makeshift things that we're trying to do, but in the end he's proving us wrong because besides Cremonese and a first half or a lackluster second half here and there, we sit top of the table with 16 points, and we have some structure in the back line. We have some game changers in the middle of the park, and we just need to we just need to find that striker, and I hope it's Jimenez to start putting putting balls behind the net, and I think things continue to go that way. We'll be very successful moving forward with this team, and I'm surprised because the way the off season was put together, I thought it was going to be a complete shit show. So I am presently surprised that on October 20th, we're sitting at 16 points in first place. It's just, for me, I can sum it up as surprised.
Playing a game on Friday, you would think we're playing Champions League, but Steve, very quickly, PSV Napoli at PSV.
1-1.
1-1. Inter Royal Union SG.
3-0 Inter.
And what else do we have? We have after that Real Madrid Juventus. Watch them win this game, Steve.
No.
Watch them win this game.
This is 3-0 Real Madrid.
Guys, stay tuned for Coast to Coast, probably coming to this week. Subscribe on TikTok, subscribe on Instagram. We're putting out some content on that. And don't forget, guys, hit that notification bell. Whenever we have some content for you, we're going to let you know ahead of time. Halloween edition coming up next Wednesday. Friday, anybody... I will try my best. I'm finishing work at 3:00. We're gonna try to go. We're gonna try to go to Chicharo's and watch the game. And this time I'll see if I get somebody to hold up the camera, get some interviews, especially on a Friday game. If not, we're gonna be talking until Monday. Stevie P. Halloween, yeah. David Malibu's birthday is on the 31st. But again, thank you to Watson. Thank you to Ian for joining the Patreon family. Let's close this off, Stevie P. Ti sente buono, capolista? I did walk in with my head up high.
Let's cut it, though. Let's cut it. You're just going and going and going. Let's go. We are first place. Let's go. Ovunque sempre.
Forza Milan.
Forza Milan.
Have a good night.